Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Meet the Fritztrainer today with me, Ivan Sokolov. Thanks for being here.
Yes, my pleasure.
Now, why are you in Hamburg?
Well, I'm, as many of your viewers perhaps know, I did make already a couple of DVDs on middle games for the ChessBase, namely actually 4 of them. And now I came to make number 5 and number 6 in a series. And the previous had to do with the middle game teams, and this one also will have to do with the middle game teams, but a bit difference of this number 5 and 6 compared to some of the other, though not all the other, is that the middle games are focused on particular openings. So it will be on 2 Sicilians, which are very popular by the club players and professionals alike, and this is Rossolimo and Marozzi. And the other one will be on different positions which can come from classical Ruy Lopez variations. It is not opening.
Okay.
I mean, I have tried to give opening information.
Okay.
As much as I could, but it is not the idea that I'm trying to provide some lines like, okay, follow this line, you're going to get a better position. This is something which unfortunately viewers will have to check by themselves, or maybe look at some products of a ChessBase which are opening oriented. So I have given my opinions which variations I think in particular positions should be followed, or maybe offer more possibilities to get advantage than the others, or which line to avoid. But material is mainly based on understanding different middle game positions which are coming from those openings and what to pay attention to and to learn some new plans.
I will ask you something about some other things chess related first, and then we will go a bit into some private details. Not too much, don't worry.
Not good.
Now, I was checking the Megadatabase 2022, of course, and I noticed your favorite opening move is first d4 as white, and you had some tremendous wins against players like Adams, Kamsky, Polgar, Kramnik, and of course the very famous, and probably everybody knows by now, Kasparov game. Why first d4?
This is a good question. To start with, I'm not even sure it was such a clever choice.
Now you have to really emphasize on that.
No, because at some stage, about the end of my career, because I've ended my playing career in 2013, and then became a trainer, so basically I'm already like, almost 10 years retired chess player. I was kind of wondering, wasn't I 30 years long making a mistake on a first move?
No, really?
No, I don't. I think it is a matter of choice. It is, I think, a matter of choice. And at the start of my career, I was playing both first moves. Even when I became a Grandmaster, I was playing both first moves. I was playing d4 more often, but I was playing e4. You can find some of my games in database when I played first move e4 when I was like 2500 player or 2450. So, but at some moment you have to make a choice. And maybe it has to do with the fact that I did not have a trainers.
Okay. Wow.
Because at some moment of my career I was working with Velimirović, or he was working with me, and of course he's famous e4 player.
Yes.
And I did learn a lot of things from him about e4 systems, though I had difficulty to follow exactly his opening lines because, well, at that time we did not have a computers. We are talking 1986, 1987. And he was playing those sacrificing lines, which, okay, it is easy maybe to check them today. But at that time, nobody knew, for example, when you sacrifice this knight on f5 in Velimirović attack, how it exactly works out. Nowadays, it is kind of common knowledge that in his main line, most probably white is just winning. At that time, people didn't know this. For example, when Fischer lost his famous game to Larsen in that variation, he didn't know this. And I will actually use this opportunity to tell this, to tell some funny thing what Velimirović told me. Of course, I don't know whether it is true or not, but I think that viewers will find it very funny. At that time, when Fischer lost this famous game to Larsen, Velimirović was second of Grigorić. And as a lot of people know, Grigorić was very good personal friend of Fischer. Fischer was visiting him in Belgrade long after he stopped playing chess. And in that period, let's say between 1972 and his rematch with Spassky 1982, Fischer was a couple of times from Belgrade visiting Grigorić, so they were very good friends. And Grigorić was not playing those kind of lines. He was sometimes playing e4, well, often maybe, but much more often Grigorić was playing first move d4. And he was famous for his classical opening repertoire with first move d4, and I studied a lot of his games building this repertoire myself. So they started to talk about this line. And Fischer told to, well, Grigor told to Fischer, he said, look, I analyzed it a long time ago. I'm nowadays mostly d4 player, but my second Velimirović is having some ideas there. So if you want to, you can sit and you can analyze this with him. So according to Velimirović, Grigorić has fixed this session. And they were sitting in a restaurant with a chessboard and analyzing. But Velimirović did not speak English.
Oh, okay.
He spoke, of course, Serbian, and he spoke some Russian. That was it.
Yeah, okay.
And, well, as people know, Fischer did learn some Russian in order to read the chess books. But from what I heard, well, he could read chess notation and these kind of things, but not really talking. So they agreed that Velimirović should play with white, this, and to show to Fischer his ideas. Fischer would defend as a black. But when somebody gets a lost position, the other side has the right to slap him on the wrist.
No.
So they started to analyze. Velimirović was sacrificing his knight on f5, and Fischer was playing on the black side. And according to Velimirović, Larsen came to Grigorić, who was a bit further away, and said, I have seen something unbelievable. And Grigorić said, what did you see? Larsen said, well, some unknown man keeps on hitting Fischer on his hands, and Bobby's hands are red all over.
What? No.
This was a story what Velimirović told me. I don't think we can verify this, but this is...
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And I have to say that one of the reasons why, for example, I had a difficulty also following this at that time was that I was never really... I was, let's say, with my sacrifices, I was more like a, Carlsen kind of guy. Sacrifice a pawn, maybe 2 pawns, maybe exchange, but don't sacrifice a house.
Okay.
And, for example, I had a huge difficulty following, understanding the games of Tal.
Okay.
When I was writing for New in Chess my book Sacrifice and Initiative, okay, I had a help that I could analyze it with the computer. But I had a time when I was, of course, analyzing a lot of Tal games without computer. And okay, I could spend a day looking at his sacrifices and still not understanding what really happens if guys...
What was he thinking?
Yes. Nowadays, okay, kind of engine... helps you.
You understand, yeah.
And the point is that also what I have pointed out in my book, Sacrifice the Initiative, which I wrote for New in Chess already 10 years ago, I think majority of Tal sacrifices were correct.
Wow.
Or if there is a refutation, okay, engine is showing some refutation, but it is very difficult to find. And when engine shows refutation, it would not be like, I don't know, -5. It would be like -1.
Yeah, okay.
But Velimirović was having also this kind of style of sacrificing a house. And one of the ideas which he got is, people maybe know this, sacrificing a knight on e6, but not to sacrifice a knight in order to remove pawn, like knight e6, fe6, bishop e6, but sacrificing a knight when pawn is on e5 of opponents, and he has pawn on f5, after fe6 to take fe6, and to just play this position with that pawn there. And I remember in 1987 I was preparing for a World Junior, and Velimirović was preparing for Interzonal in Sirac. Okay, that World Junior which I played was won by Rand, and we all understood that, okay, we are somewhere here, he's somewhere there. But Velimirović was showing me at that time this his idea to sacrifice a piece on e6, and I was looking at this, and I thought, yeah, but okay, what do you have? He said, well, I have this pawn on e6 and you cannot develop. Well, out of respect for his age, I said, well, this is interesting.
Very polite,
Very polite. And then he had a game versus Portish, and he lost that game like in 20 moves, sacrificing this piece. And I was reading this in a newspaper. I was seeing the game, and I thought, well, okay.
What did you expect?
Expected. But then he spent time looking at this line again, and then he improved. And then he had a brilliant win versus Shuba. And also, I think, brilliant win versus Gutmann, if my memory serves me right. And actually, nowadays, when computer is checking this stuff which he was doing, the most modern Stockfish, it is interesting.
Oh, wow.
And if black does not have, let's say, a refutation, black has some ways that, okay, if somebody would play it with the white like 5 times, at some stage he would not maybe play it again. But if person has to sit and look it up over the board, or doesn't have a time to spend a day analyzing with the most powerful computer and the cloud and this kind of stuff, it is actually working. It is but I had a difficulty following those kind of lines.
My goodness.
And sometime, okay, then I have spent, that was maybe time where I could have, let's say, played both moves, or spend more time analyzing first move e4.
Yeah.
But this was a little bit complicated because this was 87, 88. Okay, then 1990, I have lost a whole year while sitting in a military service doing absolutely nothing. This was just completely wasted year. It is the same like somebody would send you to jail.
Oh, gosh.
Not much of a difference. And, well, then this, war broke out. So I moved to Netherlands. And, okay, the first time when I started actually to look a lot of these C4 systems, that was like 96, 97, when I started to work with Timan.
Oh, okay.
Because Timan was playing all the systems. But, well, I was already formed as a player.
Oh, so
and also the point is that if you want to dramatically, let's say, change repertoire, and at some stage when you're already, let's say, formed as a player, and you are like 2650 at the time, which was easily top 20 in the world, obviously if you would dramatically switch to completely different repertoire, you need to understand that short term you need to sacrifice your results.
That is a brave and very rough and hard decision, obviously.
And this is brave decision. It is not so simple, because you are professional. Your income is depending on your rating. And you need to kind of, do it. For example, I get a lot of questions. Why am I not playing as a black Slav any longer? Because a lot of people know that I have spent most of my professional career versus D4 playing Slav. Well, and I'm saying because I'm not professional anymore. I don't live from my rating. And I love to play with the black more entertaining openings. I don't want to give you possibility to torture me to take on d5 or to do some other things. Let me do something different. But more or less, this is to make a long story. If I would have had started with predominantly e4, I would have stayed there.
Yeah.
And I think that nowadays one of the reasons why actually people they can switch easier is okay. First of all, I got my first laptop in '93. At '93, well, ChessBase had a Megabase, but it was just starting. I mean, you did not have those trees and all this kind of stuff. And you had some competitors. Nickbase was trying to develop also at that stage database. Even my first database I was getting from New in Chess, some floppy disks which you would put on. So all this kind of stuff what we have today, that you can just get very quick review and the trees and the percentages and the top ratings and all this kind of stuff, it did not exist.
Of course, yeah.
Also, engines were basically weak.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, still, yeah, 93, yeah.
93
It was
engines
just
yeah, it was
barely
just
starting, yeah.
Because the time when engines were on normal laptop becoming, let's say, stronger than humans, that it was clear that it was maybe already, maybe we are talking 97,
Yeah,
98. So it took a long
took a
time.
couple of years, yeah.
It didn't exist like you run your stuff on the cloud. Also, so many of those things today which young players have as a possibility, it did not exist at the time. So when somebody is wondering, how can somebody, let's say, now at the age of, I don't know, 22, how can person know so much about the different openings and the positions? Well, it is
because it's possible.
It is easier. It is possible. It is possible. Simply, you couldn't do it at the time. I will give, let's say, example how did preparation work. Let's say in a pre-computer time.
Yeah.
So, but in that time, when I was already like top 25 in the world.
Yes.
Like time when I won. Let's say I won a BLA in a 98. In a 88. So it was in a pre-computer time. Some players had databases, very few. So it will work that you pick up, chess informants, whole bunch of them.
I know.
You pick up some magazines, like New in Chess, Schach.
And then you have to study them thoroughly all the time.
Yeah, then you kind of start looking at games of your interest.
Yeah.
Then you write them down, or some moves you write them down, because it will be quite difficult to remember which book to open to kind of find it. Then you try to analyze them to up to some point where it's clear that what you believe who won theoretical battle. And then you write it down, then you put it in a notebook. But notebook, I mean, you write it in a notebook.
Good old times.
So how long time does it take?
Quite a while, I can assume.
Quite a while. So you couldn't learn all these things so fast.
Yeah.
It was mission impossible.
Yeah. My goodness. Well, yeah, thank you for this quick answer. We're done with our time now. No,
Yes.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. But that was so interesting. And it's, it goes into a whole chapter of, those were the times back then and how easy it is nowadays. Or like, let's say not easy, but how it applies to not only chess, but to almost everything. So, very crazy after all. Very nice anecdote too, by the way. Now, okay, but I still have a couple of more questions. In 2004, you were able to climb up to this magical rating of over 2,700. And before, in 1996, you were the 13th best player in the world. And before that, in 1987, you became a Grandmaster. Which of these events was the most memorable?
Well, for me, the most memorable was becoming Grandmaster because at that time I was youngest in the world.
You were the youngest Grandmaster in the world.
At that time, it was before, and I'm from generation Ivanchuk, Gelfand, Anand.
My goodness.
So I became a Grandmaster before them.
So this was not only you became a Grandmaster, but the youngest in the world.
At that moment, because nowadays, when you become a Grandmaster at the age of 18 or 19, it is nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Nothing
exactly,
special.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was something special.
Did you get like pressure because of this significance?
No. Only this significance only made me decide. When I became a young Grandmaster in the world, the next move which I made is I quit university.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because your path was now set in a clear direction.
It actually made my decision to become made me, let's say, instantly decide to become a chess professional.
Yeah, that's also brave.
Which was kind of, good. Because if I didn't become a chess professional, I would probably have studied.
Yeah.
Finished university. Okay, then we would get this sword the way we got it, right? I would either have stayed in Bosnia and maybe died, who knows, or I would come outside to the Western world. Well, I would be unemployable because, well, I was studying law. So good luck to you having ex-Yugoslav law certificate.
How funny, right? You think about this solid thing like becoming a lawyer, but for your situation it was the opposite.
Yes, so I would be then outside. I would be completely unemployable. I will have to become asylum seeker.
Oh, God.
What else would I do?
Yeah.
And who knows how my life is would have developed in that case. This way, okay, I was outside, I was traveling around the world and playing chess.
Yeah.
Traveling was a bit complicated because I had a lousy passport. So to some countries that were very complicated to give a visa, I didn't go. For some number of years, I decided I don't go to England. Because I knew when I entered this consulate, how miserable they're going to make my life.
Oh, gosh.
To some tournaments, I was simply not going. I thought, okay, this is the wrong place to go. Germans were quite friendly, I have to say.
Well, at least something.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, rough times.
So it is good that, I became professional because who knows otherwise.
My goodness. What is your favorite, when we're talking about tournaments, what was your favorite tournament you ever played in?
Maybe Vaikanze. I had some great time there, and I also had some miserable time. But this was a special place to be. And it was a different place than it was today.
Okay, I see.
Because those, let's say, years, let's say, playing a Vaikanze tournament in 95 or 94 or even, 96 was different than playing it today.
Sure.
Why? Because at that time still there was this, let's say, bohemian kind of habit that I would finish my game, go to Zonefunk, which was a cafe.
Okay.
They had these chessboards. My friend Timan will show up. Usually Shirov also. We would open some bottles of wine and analyze the games of that day. So it was.
That sounds very nice.
It was a different time.
And nowadays, you go into your hotel room, open the laptop, and analyze the game.
Yeah.
I don't want to make that bad, but yeah, that is something you can still reenact nowadays, but it's of course not that common anymore, especially when there is this pressure for all of this.
Yes, nowadays people, okay, they are done, they go to room, they switch on their engine, and try to figure out what went wrong.
Or what went
What,
well.
what, what went well, correct. So different way, you know.
Absolutely. Did you ever have, like, you were talking about some bad experiences. What did you have what was your worst experience in a tournament, if you want to?
My worst experience, I can say, was actually my last, I can say, 2013.
Okay.
Because I had like 4 winning positions, and I did not manage to win a single one of them. Because if I did
Painful.
if I did not have any winning positions, all right, then I simply played badly, and all right, I don't deserve it. Or maybe other people are so much better that nothing to be done there. But it is not only this famous game which I ruined versus Nakamura, but I had like a couple of them in that tournament, and which I managed to. I remember, for example, at some moment, my last round game was versus Erwin Lamy, and that game took forever. I was better. At some stage, everybody went to closing ceremony. Because our game was not deciding anything. We both had completely ruined tournament.
Okay.
But I just wanted to win that last game, whatever it is. Because I also thought, okay, this is going to be my last Vikings tournament. I want to win last game I'm playing in Vik. And I got some winning ending. Game took forever. And then I ruined this winning ending. It was a draw.
So much time, so much effort, and then a draw. Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah, very, very painful. What are you doing? Do you do anything else besides playing chess in your life? And what is it?
Well, I don't. Well, if you are wondering what are my, let's say, interests.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I usually go to gym like 5-6 times a week. I don't know whether it
that is a hobby, serious hobby.
Qualifies under hobby.
I would say so. Yeah.
I call it taxation.
Taxation. Okay.
Yes. You know why?
Tell me.
Because when you drink some wine in the evening, you need to pay a tax in the morning. And paying tax means going to gym.
Well, at least you don't go to the gym 20-30 times in a week.
Correct. So, and
excellent.
Apart from chess, okay, my interests are, I do follow some politics and I follow economy. This is, let's say, something which interests me.
I get you. Okay.
So I spend like 2 hours per day reading.
Oh, wow.
If this is qualified as a hobby.
Oh, yeah, sure. What is your favorite, or what is the most recommended book, which is not a chess book? And actually, also, what is a chess book? You can answer to both.
Well, if you...
You can even name your own ones.
Okay, if you want to, let's say, I like very much books of Peter Lynch.
Okay.
Why? Because he's able to explain the books, explain investing in a very simple and effective way.
Okay.
While if you buy a book, Soros, Alchemy of Finance, and he is explaining about imperfection of markets and spends 20 pages explaining something which he can explain in one. Maybe it is interesting for somebody who wants to become a PhD into something. So I like somehow when person explains something in a quick and a simple language.
Gotcha.
Well, apart from this, of course, what do I read? I just follow the regular news. What a lot of people follow, like CNBC. So I spend like 2 hours per day reading those kind of stories. Like my day usually starts not here because now I'm at the ChessBase. So now my day starts like
a bit different.
Like let me prepare a material.
Yeah.
About what am I going to
Of course.
basically. But when I'm home, my day starts by drinking coffee and reading what was happening in the world while I was sleeping. And normally this ritual takes every morning like hour and a half. So it is like 2-3 coffees and reading some kind of stories, and then I start to think, okay, now maybe I should do something which I make a living from.
Yeah. Now, wow, yeah, some things which have to be announced too or be spoken about too. But now I want to check out a game which you have chosen. It is one. There's a lot of favorite of your games, but this is one of your favorite games, and it's against Kramnik. It's from 2004, and we will take a quick look at how this game went.
Yeah, this was played sometime towards the end of a tournament. As far as I could see, this is round number 12, and well, Vladimir was obviously having a better tournament than me. Because in Vaikanze, actually, I was having a very good, a number of very good tournaments. Like, for example, in 1997, I was sharing second place, and I almost won the tournament. In 1999, okay, I was, let's say, the best of the rest. Like, okay, there was Kasparov and Kramnik. Okay, those people are category of their own. And then I was sharing a fourth place, which was very good. But then sometime in 2000s, my lucks in Vaikanze started to decline.
Okay.
And this was one of those events. And this is not easy tournament, never easy tournament to play. So we were playing, I was at that time playing this Petrosian variation of Queen's Indian.
Okay.
Or some people also call it Kasparov variation, because Petrosian was the first one who played it, but Kasparov had many great wins.
Yeah.
So, and I have good memory about this, because actually I played some of my favorite wins come from this variation. One was also against Polgar. I think that game was also played in 2004, but a bit later. And what Vladimir is doing was at that time just popular. Usually this is line which is played very little. They don't develop this knight to c6. They don't do this, because normally speaking, you basically play, let's say, bishop e7,
Yeah.
e4, castles, bishop d3, let's say, c5.
Yeah, and both kings are safe very quickly.
Castle, and okay, both kings are safe very quickly. And then here, well, there are a couple of moves, queen c8 being one of them.
Yeah.
And then usually you don't want to trade queens. And then very often happens takes, bishop a6, for example. My game versus Polgar went this way. And then let's say rook d1. And game continues. You have this standard position that, let's say, white is having a pawn majority in the center. But, well, whether he would be able to take advantage of this or not is a different story. So this is, let's say, what is considered basically the main line. What Vladimir played, I think that he wanted to surprise me. Yeah. Which is kind of okay, understandable, because he didn't play this. He didn't play this line before, and I think that he also wanted to play some kind of line that would be solid, but also offer him some winning chances. To combine two things, like, okay, I don't want to gamble with the black, but I also want to have some dynamic position. Bishop e7, d5. One of the possible moves takes, rook d1, and here d4, which is very normal move, because such a transaction, if you castle, is quite favorable to white. Yeah, looks good. So rook d1, d4, takes, castles. This is interesting moment, because, for example, okay, this position is quite promising for a white, because white would like to jump, and if you take, well, the point is that bishop b5 is going to come. So you would lose the right to castle, and then we see. anyhow, for white, this is something which is easy to play because you're a bit better and there is no really risk involved.
Gotcha.
So Vladimir castled, and this was interesting moment because, okay, I did not have really a great tournament like what I had said because, okay, some rounds earlier I have missed great chances versus Fiddler. I had some winning position which I ruined to a draw. So also level of confidence is then not really high. And okay, there is, you know, this, well, okay, there is Kramnik who is sitting on the other side, which also is not very inspiring when you have this confidence level. And here is a choice, because, well, d takes c5 is safe play.
Yeah.
This is a very safe play.
Because black has to do that, yeah.
Yes, and okay, takes, let's say takes. This is a very safe play. Not much is basically going to happen here.
And you can even probably castle easily. And,
I can castle easily, or I can play here, let's say move bishop d3, and then castle.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, for example, this is option. So d takes c5 is a safe move.
Yeah.
Is a safe move.
But you decided...
and I understood I can do this, but okay, if I do this, probably game is going to be a draw.
Yeah.
On the other hand, d5 looked very promising. And then I always had this idea, I always have these discussions with my students when sometimes they have a similar position and they, let's say, they chicken out and they take dc5. Then I asked them, well, but if you play a guy like, let's say, Kramnik or Anand, when are you going to expect to win a game? When you have worse position? So if you are not expecting to win a game by some miracle, by a blunder, if you want to win it by some normal way, you have to show ambition when position seems to be offering this.
Wow,
so
very good lecture, yeah.
So this is a kind of ambitious move. Okay, knight d4, expect it.
Yeah.
Because this would be easy choice. I mean, okay, not looking for counterplay, so knight d4. Queen b2. So here this is interesting moment, because Vladimir played move rook e8, which is based on a tactical trick. This is a tactical trick. Because when you take, there is a checkmate.
Checkmate.
So
Very
I think
cute.
that this tactical trick somehow, you know, made him decide for a move like rook e8.
Yeah.
Actually, much stronger move was knight f3, gf3, and now let's say queen d6.
Oh, okay.
And then actually he would get what he wanted to get. He would get actually sharp position, which he can easily play for a win. Because I will tell you that engine is evaluating this around zeros. Of course, I was not aware of this in the game, because I thought in the game probably the same thing what Vladimir thought. If I get this massive pawn center, it should be good, one way or the other.
Yeah.
But problem is that you cannot actually move those pawns that easily. This is a bit of a trouble.
Yes,
I mean,
F4 is very, very ambitious.
F4 is very ambitious, but then still the question is how would you kind of move it? How would you move it further? It resembles in a strange way some positions which can come from a Grunfeld, where you also have this massive center, but to roll it is a different story. So, but I guess that this beautiful mating line inspired Vladimir to choose for rook e8.
Well, that would be very cute if that would have happened, yeah.
But now, actually, I have advantage here. White is now actually better. Bishop b5, bishop a3, which is a good
dangerous,
move.
yeah.
Yeah, because if I take, there is a check and
not very good, no.
And 3 pawns. I think that a lot of these flashy lines has inspired black to go for this decision.
Yes.
But reality is actually that now white is having a easier game. Because this king is not really a problem, because rook, point is that this rook, at some moment I'm going to play move h4, and the rook would come the other way. So this king can happily stay
where it is.
Where
it's
it
safe,
is.
yeah.
And now, of course, black has a problem that these flashy lines are over.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
White has now a center. Well, this square is annoying.
Yes,
I mean, this
super strong.
this square is very annoying, and it's a long way off until this pawn is going to become a headache.
This might be the only counter play, are those pawns, maybe.
So, but now, what did ChessBase do to me? Because
the game is over?
The game is over, so I have to decide not to... It cut it. I have to decide not to save it, and then I would find it again. But if I close it, then your whole system is, I think, going to close. So this is not...
Let me quickly try.
If your system doesn't close, I can get back to the game.
Okay, no, it shouldn't be closing completely.
So you don't save?
No, I don't save.
9, and then, okay, you open it again.
Okay, 21. There we go.
Okay, good. So we are on, yeah? Okay, that's the good news. So now actually white's play is kind of sort of easy.
Yeah.
Because white is having attack and black is actually having a lot of problems. Black is trying to look for a counterplay, but it is actually difficult because white's position is very safe, and also it is easy to play.
Mm-hmm.
It is really easy to play this position as white. Vladimir here, he sacrificed a pawn in order to try to get some activity.
Yes.
Because the problem is, okay, if not, simply, there is a lot of possibilities for, white.
Yeah, yeah.
White wants to push. You don't want to push h6. Those pawns also are about to roll.
Knight
so
G5.
many things can basically happen here. So this is an attempt to create a mess. Actually, very decent practical decision.
Yeah.
Problem is that it is not really working, and also king is now weak. f6, rook f4. Here, bishop c7.
Yeah.
It is difficult for anybody, even if you are, world champion, when you have to choose between bad possibilities.
Yes, Terry, I just thought about it this very moment. It must be so crushing to play those positions and keep on playing and just find not the worst move, just the worst move.
No, but this is really difficult, even if you are world champion, when you understand that your position is not good and you are kind of evaluating what is your best practical chance. Because then you are looking at two different things when you have a lousy position. Number one, you are asking yourself, what is my best move? But then you would say, okay, this is my best move, but I'm going to suffer as hell and maybe still lose.
Yeah.
So then you are thinking thought number two, what is my best move under circumstances? What is my best practical chance?
Yeah.
But evaluating this is very hard, even if you are world champion. So bishop c7 happened, rook c1.
Wow, okay.
Always good to take a tempo. And also this is what he maybe underestimated.
Whoa.
Because, look, the purpose of this move is that I cannot take. Because the problem is that my bishop on b5 will fall with a check.
Yeah. And that's not good.
And I guess what black wanted is, okay, to force me to take a decision like, okay, maybe my position is lost, but I don't give you easy moves. If you want to win, you have to sacrifice exchange.
Yeah.
So, but fortunately for me, it happens to be working.
Wow.
Because a check on c1 is just one single check. And nothing happens. All the problems remains. And now position is lost. Rook c8, queen b2. Well, we have technically material equality, knight and 2 pawns versus a rook.
But those pawns...
But king is very weak.
And the king is super weak.
So the only way for black to try to save the game is to trade queens. Because white king is much safer.
Yes.
And this is exactly what black does. And he will manage to trade queens.
Yeah, I think this is
but this will come at a price.
It's very beautiful.
This will come at a price because pawn is now running.
This d6 move is very, very nice.
And now combination of those running pawns, and also you cannot really help yourself, let's say, by running with a king, because rook c5, knight d6, and this is next pawn coming. So it is not only a pawn running, it is also that white has extremely good position. And rook back to otherwise simply queens.
Yeah.
But now this knight on g5 is completely paralyzing black, and here black resigned because he simply cannot stop those pawns. So this was a game which was quite memorable to me.
Yes.
Anyhow, my only win versus Kramnik. But I quite like this one. I also had some draws.
Very
I think that he has a score +1. And so this is a game which is good for me.
Well, if you say like score +1 to end this really, really nice interview with you, I enjoyed it a lot. I was reading the Schach magazine in the 90s, and every now and then you were one of my favorite players because you were attacking so much, and I loved that. Like at least in the ones you won, and you won against the elite of chess. You have even a positive classic score against Anand.
Yes,
and
I'm equally surprised.
Yeah, and you have a positive score against Magnus Carlsen. Okay, he was a bit younger, but he was a grandmaster, and everybody knew how strong he is. And it felt like you kind of beat every monster chess player out there. There's very, very few who you didn't get to win against at least one time. So yeah, this has to be put into consideration too. Thanks a lot, Ivan. That was great. And I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. And we're looking forward for the new Fritztrainers.
Thank you too.
If you haven't got the old ones, now's the best time, right? Bye-bye.